Hi, my name is Julio Garreaud. I'm working on a project to be able to obtain my DTM certification with Toastmasters, and I had to do a project where I couldn't do it with Toastmasters because I would require to have like the whole meeting for 3 times, have the whole meeting just for myself, and I thought it was inappropriate to deprive other people from the time to speak. So I'm doing a project with 2 clients of mine. So what I needed to happen here, I'm doing it with 2 clients. Actually, what I have to be done is already done. So I'm just reporting what I'm doing to the committee I have, and then today I'm going to do a little exercise of some of the things that I've done with this company. So I'm going to talk today about the power of language. Human beings are linguistic beings. Human beings live in language like fish lives in the water. If you take a guppy out of the aquarium and you hold him up there, he's going to wiggle, and he's trying to get back into the water. Human beings without language do not exist. If you consider that as a philosophical statement. Because everything that we do, everything that we think, everything that happens in your life, it happens in language. Without language, there's no water bottles. Without language, there's no automobiles. Without language, there's no ties. Without language, there's no name tags. That's the world we live in. We live in language. So my job as an executive coach, a leadership coach, when I go is I go to organizations and listen to the conversations going on. To me, the culture of an organization is the conversations that take place inside the organization. And if you look at the conversation that go inside an organization, they are really interesting because they have a lot of similarity. And then they tell you what is, you can say, the temperature of the productivity that exists inside the organization. The leaders of the company speak, people listen, they speak around the same thing, and the conversation propagates around. So if you look at the conversation that go inside the organization and you want to really, really make this company productive, you have to change, I call it altering the conversation that's going on. So that's what we're going to do today. Okay? Human beings live in, there's 2 possible domains where you can live in the world. This is the domain of what, I call this the domain of what happened. This is what happened. You know, if I do this, the pen fall. That's what happened. Okay? Human beings cannot live in this domain. We cannot live inside this domain. So we live in this domain over here. And what is in this domain? Any ideas? Pardon me?
What we think happened.
What we think it happened. This is the domain of opinions, interpretations, judgments, and then we create something that called the story. Human beings live in stories. Who I am, Julio Garreaud, is the story of everything I've done in my life. I was born in South America, I came to the United States, I went in the military, I'm the treasurer for the 3rd time. It's a story. Each and every one of you have your own story. What happened over here, it was the cause of these opinions and interpretations. You see, when I came from another country, the United States, and then I became a citizen, the government has an interpretation that I'm a minority. Do I look like a minority? I don't know what a minority is. You ladies who are minorities are still minorities according to the government. You can get special loans. You can have a special privilege. You need to get preferential treatment. So under the government interpretation, I am a minority. I have never considered myself a minority. So that's their interpretation and my interpretation. Now, which interpretation do you think will serve me most? In my life, what interpretation will serve me most? I'm not a minority or minority? Lori, what do you think?
You're not a minority. Being a minority will serve you, but that's not who you are. You're not.
No, but I can get a lot of
Very
stuff for free.
majority.
I can get cheese, and I
Majority.
can get, snacks, and I can get
Rather
other things,
majority.
couldn't I? Okay? So yes, so it's a matter of choice. It's a matter of choice. We cannot live here. We cannot live here. So given that we have to live here, what we make here is very important. What is the story of this organization? That's what we need to do. What is the story of this organization? Where they're going? What is their vision? What is their mission? What is their values? How they train their people? Apple has a great story. Apple Computers has a great story. All the other computers companies in the world do not have a great story like Apple does. Therefore, they are ahead in the market. So that's what happened in organization. When I do this, people need to understand, and we're going to find out how this works. So let's go to the next step. Let's do the how we distinguish these inside of an organization. So I usually tell people, look, Mark Eaton is the president of the company. This is the company. And he is thinking to step to the side a little bit. And he has his great friend in New York that knows him for about 25 years. They went to college together, and they've been in communication, they visit each other. And his guy, his name is Tony. And he would like to move to Utah because he's been skiing the last couple of seasons with his family, and he really like to come to Utah. So he's thinking to bring Tony to be in charge of this company. So we communicate that to the leadership team. We're going to bring Tony from New York to Salt Lake City. A little culture shock. Just a little bit. Just a little trip. So immediately the people, when you hear Tony from New York is going to come to run this company, what goes to your mind? What do you think his leadership style is going to be? Aggressive. Aggressive. This is very aggressive, so I'll put it with double S. I cannot spell. Everything I write, Linda read it for me and she corrects it for me. Aggressive. What else we can say about people from New York?
They're abrasive.
Abrasive, okay?
They are loyal to a point. New Yorkers, when they befriend you for life.
Okay, they're loyal.
New Yorkers have...
Notice that she said to a point. Yeah, immediately limits his loyalty, right? To a point.
No,
What
when
else
you
about
know
New
it's
York?
New York.
Sarah?
They work late.
I mean,
They work late.
Yep.
They work a lot. Like
they work a lot, yeah, they're workaholics.
Long
Okay?
work.
Work a lot.
Especially into the evening.
You never seen Mark Eaton working, right? So obviously, it's going to alter what's going on here. What else we can say about people from New York? Linda.
Impatient.
Impatient?
They rule with an iron fist.
The what?
Rule with an iron fist.
Yeah, rule with the iron fist.
They
And
got a
it's
strange accent, too.
Strange
They
accent.
got a strange accent.
They talk
Kind of
funny.
like you do.
Half accent. No, Tony is Italian too, so he likes pizza, and he doesn't, and all the other things that come with that. So imagine that. If we're going to bring Tony over here, we already set the pace of what's going to happen here. This is not in the domain of what happened. This is in the domain of interpretation. So let me give you here a new interpretation. I'm going to put here New Yorker 9/11. What do you see about New Yorkers on 9/11 and after that?
Compassion.
Compassionate,
Patriotism.
what else you say?
Patriotism.
Patriotic. What else? Caring. Humble. Caring.
Fearless.
Loyal.
Heroes.
Heroes. And we can on and on and on. What is the difference? The difference is in the interpretation that we make of what we see. We see people like John Concannon all the time, and we think that this is what people in New York is. But if you've been to New York, yeah, the lifestyle is faster than Utah. You know, if we count all the missionaries, we are close to 3 million people. But we had to count all the missionaries around the world to get to that number. In the subway, every day is 5 million people. So can we compare New York with Utah? Not likely. So the thing to do to understand here is that this is where we live. This is what is possible. Some of us have relationships that are like this. Because we are not looking to look at the story that we made. Yes, something happened here. Something happened here on this circle, and then we make the interpretation. So we make this interpretation here. Now, if you take these diagrams and the concept I'm giving you here, you can transform your life. You can transform your life. I was talking to a neighbor of mine across the street. He's a pharmacist. And he was telling me, when I was walking across the street, I said, well, are you working hard? I said, no, I never work hard. I said, working hard is an interpretation. I love what I do, so I can never work hard. Because to me, I'm totally passionate about what I do. If you think that you're a hard worker, think again. Possibly, you don't like your job and you're in the wrong position. And it's time, either way, it's two possibilities. One, you can create a new story about your job, or you can quit your job and get the job that you really like a possibility. Relationships. If you're not happy with the relationship you're in, look at the story. Look at the story. Because if you were able to write your story, and read it over and over and over again, you will get nauseated. So given the fact that we live in the stories, I invite you to look at your story. The same way you look at your clothing. If you have a hole in your shoe, you buy a new shoe. If you have a hole in your shirt, you buy a new shirt or get a new shirt. Same thing with your story. If your story is full of holes, it's time for you to think about how you're going to transform that story. Where we can go from here? The idea to go from here is for each and every one of you to look what is possible for you. We come over here and we learn how to speak, and then speaking now goes along with the interpretations that we make of things. Okay? So how many people here will consider this for a few minutes, today or tomorrow, about your story?